The French Open, often referred to as Roland Garros, is a major tennis tournament held over 2 weeks between late May and early June at the Stade Roland Garros in Paris, France. Named after the French aviator Roland Garros, it is the premier clay court tennis championship event in the world and the second of 4 annual Grand Slam tournaments. The other 3 being the Australian Open, Wimbledon and the US Open. Roland Garros is the only Grand Slam event held on clay and ends the spring clay court season. Because of the slow playing surface and the 5-set men's singles matches without a tiebreak in the final set, the event is widely considered to be the most physically demanding tennis tournament in the world. History: officially named in French Les Internationaux de France de Roland Garros or Tournoi de Roland Garros, the tournament is often referred to in English as the French Open, and alternatively as Roland Garros, which is the designation used by the tournament itself in all languages, including English. French spelling rules dictate that in the name of a place or event named after a person, the elements of the name are joined together with a hyphen. Therefore the names of the stadium and the tournament are hyphenated as Roland Garros. In 1891, a national tennis tournament began to be held, that was open only to tennis players who were members of French clubs. The first winner was a Briton H. Briggs, who was a Paris resident. It was known as the Championnat de France, which is commonly referred to in English as the French Championships. The first women's singles tournament was held in 1897. The mixed doubles event was added in 1902 and the women's doubles in 1907. This French club members-only tournament was played until 1924. This tournament had 4 venues during those years: a Le de Puteaux, in Puteaux, played on sand laid out on a bed of rubble. The Racing Club de France, played on clay. For 1 year, 1909, it was played at the Socia Copyright Athlé Copyright de la Villa Primrose in Bordeaux, on clay. Tennis Club de Paris, at Auteuil, Paris, played on clay. Another tournament, the World Hardcourt Championships, held on clay courts at Stade Roland Section A's in St. Cloud from 1912 to 1914, then in 1920, 1921 and 1923, and at Brussels, Belgium in 1922, is sometimes considered as the precursor to the French Open as it was open to international competitors. Winners of this tournament included world number 1s such as Tony Wilding from New Zealand and Bill Tilden from the US. In 1924 there was no World Hardcourt Championships due to the tennis being played at the Paris Olympic Games. In 1925, the French Championships became open to all amateurs internationally and at the same time commenced being a major championship. This tournament was held at the Stade Roland Section A's in St. Cloud in 1925 and 1927, on clay. In 1926 the Racing Club de France hosted the event in Paris, again on clay. In 1928, the Roland Garros Stadium was opened and the event has been held there ever since. After the Musketeers or Philadelphia 4 won the Davis Cup on American soil in 1927, the French decided to defend the cup in 1928 at a new tennis stadium at Porte d'Auteuil. The Stade de France had offered the tennis authorities 3 hectares of land with the condition that the new stadium must be named after the World War I pilot, Roland Garros. The new Stade de Roland Garros, and its centre court, which was named Court Philippe Chatrier in 1988, hosted the Davis Cup Challenge. From 1946 through 1947, the French Championships were held after Wimbledon, making it the 3rd Grand Slam event of the year. In 1968, the French Championships became the first Grand Slam tournament to go open, allowing both amateurs and professionals to compete. Since 1981, new prizes have been presented, the Prix Orange, the Prix Citron and the Prix Bourgogne. In another novelty, since 2006 the tournament has begun on a Sunday, featuring 12 singles matches played on the 3 main courts. Additionally, on the eve of the tournament's opening, the traditional Bunny Berthet exhibition day takes place, where the profits go to different charity associations. In March 2007, it was announced that the event would provide equal prize money for both men and women in all rounds for the first time. In 2010, it was announced that the French Open was considering a move away from Roland Garros as part of a continuing rejuvenation of the tournament. Surface characteristics: clay courts slow down the ball and produce a high bounce when compared to grass courts or hard courts. For this reason, clay courts take away some of the advantages of big servers and serve and volleys, which makes it hard for these types of players to dominate on the surface. For example, Pete Sampras, known for his huge serve and who won 14 Grand Slam titles, never won the French Open. His best result was reaching the semi-finals in 1996. Many players who have won multiple Grand Slam events have never won the French Open, including John McEnroe, Venus Williams, Stefan Edberg, Boris Becker, Martina Hingis and Lindsay Davenport. Andy Roddick, who once held the record for the second fastest serve in the history of professional tennis and who has reached at least the semi-finals of the other 3 Grand Slams multiple times, never reached the quarter-finals at the French Open. On the other hand, players whose games are more suited to slower surfaces, such as Rafael Nadal, Jan-Paragraf Arenborg, Ivan Lendl, and Mats Wilander, and Justine Henin, have found great success at this tournament. In the Open era, the only male players who have won both the French Open and Wimbledon, played on faster grass courts, are Rod Laver, Jan Kadia, Jan-Paragraf Arenborg, Andre Agassi, Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer. Expansion versus relocation. In 2009 the FA Copyright der Copyright-Rechtsverordnung de Tennis announced that it had determined that the French Open's venue had become inadequate, compared to other major tennis tournament facilities. As a result, it had commissioned the French architect Marc Milram to design a significant expansion of Stade Roland Garros. On the current property, the proposal calls for the addition of lights and a roof over court Philippe Chatrier. At the nearby Georges Ha Copyright Bert Municipal Recreation Area, east of Roland Garros at Porte de Tuile, a fourth stadium will be built, with a retractable roof and 14,600 seating capacity, along with 2 smaller courts with seating for 1,500 and 750. In 2010, faced with opposition to the proposed expansion from factions within the Paris City Council, the FFT announced it was considering an alternate plan to move the French Open to a completely new, 55-court venue outside of Paris city limits. 3 sites reportedly being considered are Marne-la-Vallée Copyright-E, the northern Paris suburb of Gonesse near of the international airport Charles de Gaulle, and a vacant army base near Versailles. Amid charges of bluffing and brinkmanship, a spokesman explained that Roland Garros is less than half the size of other Grand Slam venues, leaving the FFT with only 2 viable options: expansion of the existing facility or relocation of the event. In February 2011, the decision was taken to keep the French Open at its current location near the Porte de Tuile. The venue will undergo major renovations by 2018. Court Nard Degree 1 will be demolished, while 2 new courts will be built. In addition, a retractable roof will be installed on the Philippe Chatrier court, and the size of the venue will be expanded by 60%. Ball boys and ball girls. At the 2010 French Open there were 250 ramasseurs de balls, which in English translates literally as gatherers of balls. They are aged between 12 and 16 years old, and dress in matching shirts and shorts. The 250 ball boys and ball girls are chosen to take part in the French Open by an application and selection process, which in 2010 had approximately 2,500 applicants from across France. Upon selection the ball boys and ball girls participate in preparatory training in the weeks leading up to the French Open to ensure that they are prepared for the day they set foot on the tennis court in front of a global audience. Prize money and ranking points. For 2014, the prize money purse was increased to a $25,018,900. The prize money and points breakdown is as follows: per team, champions. Men's singles, winner of the Coupe des Mousquetaires; women's singles, winner of the Coupe Suzanne Lenglen; men's doubles, winners of the Coupe Jacques Brugnon; women's doubles, winners of the Coupe Simone Mathieu; mixed doubles, winners of the Coupe Marcel Bernard; singles finals, records and statistics. The trophies are all made of pure silver with finely etched decorations on their side. Each new singles winner gets his or her name written on the plate holding the trophy. Winners receive a replica of the won trophy. Pure silver replicas of the trophies are fabricated and engraved for each winner by the Maison Mellereau, located in the Rue de la Paix, Paris. Current champions. Records, television coverage. France Tar Copyright La Copyright Visions and Eurosport hold the broadcast rights to the French Open until 2014. United Kingdom, ITV Sport holds broadcasting rights to show the French Open tennis tournaments until 2018. The bulk of the daily coverage is broadcast on ITV4, although both singles finals plus other weekend matches are shown on ITV1. John Inverdale hosts the coverage. Commentators include Jim Courier, Émilie Mauresmo, Sam Smith, Mark Petchey, Nick Mullins and Fabrice Santoro. Studio presentation for the French Open on British Eurosport is hosted by Annabel Croft with the segment Hawkeye presented by former British number 2 Jason Goodall. United States, NBC's coverage of the French Open began in 1975. Other than a 3-year stint on CBS, NBC has remained the American television network home of the French Open since 1983. NBC shows weekend morning early round matches in the afternoon via tape delay. If a match is still being played, it is shown live. ESPN2 or the Tennis Channel cannot show NBC's tape-delayed matches. NBC also shows a tape-delayed version of the men's semi-final, broadcasting it in the late morning of the same day. They broadcast both singles finals live. See also: List of French Open men's singles champions, List of French Open women's singles champions, List of French Open men's doubles champions, List of French Open women's doubles champions, List of French Open mixed doubles champions. References. External links. Official website, French, Roland Garros on France 2, French, Roland Garros on INA. More than 600 hours of audio-visual archives, satellite image of the venue, photos of Roland Garros, French Open All winners and runners-up. Reference book.